if I've got Scandinavian blood in me, my ancestors are fucking rolling over in their graves. I am making them so ashamed that I'm part of their progeny, because I'm the farthest thing from a fucking Viking that you could ever imagine.
Well, I mean, you remind me a lot of modern Scandinavian men. You're handsome, you're tall, you're kind-hearted.
This is why I like having Jack on the show.
Because he lies?
Well, it doesn't matter if he's lying or not. He always makes me feel good about myself.
I haven't known him as long as you, Joel, so yeah. You want to fill in the blanks for me? I'm only going off of about 6 months here.
Well, we've only got a little over an hour to work with today, so that's a tale that can take a long fucking time to talk about all of my problems. Welcome to the Iconoblast Podcast. This is the show that takes a look behind the public facades of famous icons to show you why you can never take anything at face value. My name is Matt Cooper, and as usual, I am joined by Joel Benner, but today we have a surprise guest who just happened to be in the studio, so we asked him to be on the show, and he said yes. Jack Manford Mandeville.
Yay.
The first, right?
The first, yeah.
The first.
And like Richard Gere, I got nowhere else to go.
Iconoblast. We put the past on blast. Hit them with the truth, with things you never knew. Nobody is safe, no thing to place. Got Joel and Coop with history in your face. Iconoblast.
The Iconoblast Podcast, presented by GhostBed.com. I still love that clip that you posted on Instagram, or it was one of your Instagram stories where you posted that clip from the movie, I got nowhere else to go.
I got nowhere else to go.
I love that.
Hey, I heard noise coming out there. Can I make sure my dog's not dead right now?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is awkward. I'm sorry to do it this early in the show.
No,
Anytime you want.
You do whatever. You come and go as you please, Jack. This is your kingdom. So while Jack's making sure that his dog isn't lying dead on the floor in the other room, I'm going to show a little appreciation for our sponsors, which we've been doing. We've been getting more and more sponsors, which is amazing.
Yep.
I mean, seriously appreciated. But the sponsor that we have had for the longest, and I think the longest running sponsor for Drinkin' Bros in general, is GhostBed. And GhostBed is also where the Friday Night Jack Sesh happens.
That's right.
And we also did a bonus storytime episode the other night, which was amazingly well received, and we're definitely going to be doing more of those in the future.
I was honored and also taken back by the fact that you asked permission on that. Like I not only like I would care, but like I would have any control whether you did or not.
No,
It's your set.
If you would have said that you didn't want us to do it, we wouldn't
have done it.
We would have found somewhere else to do it.
Well, you know me, I'm a good communist, so I'm all about letting you do whatever you want on my area.
It's all for the people, for the proletariat.
It's all for the people. Yeah.
And we
share.
will be talking about we will be finishing the story of a communist today. But first, I'm going to show a little love for the Ghost Bed. The Iconoblast Podcast is presented by GhostBed.com/Drinkin' Bros. You would think at this point I'd have the script memorized, but I still haven't quite memorized it yet. I want to get it right because this company is very important to us. GhostBed has been a loyal sponsor of the Drinkin' Bros for 5 years now, and everyone here in the studio is in love with their mattresses and pillows. GhostBed makes their high-quality mattresses right here in the USA, and each mattress comes with a 20-year warranty, which still, we've said it on almost every episode, but that still blows my mind that they have a 20-year warranty. You can try a GhostBed mattress for 101 nights, and if you're not completely satisfied, you can return it, no questions asked. Their mattresses and pillows have cooling technology to keep you cool at night, and you can buy a mattress for around $35 per month. They also have no money down, 0% financing plans. GhostBed also offers bundles, so you can get everything you need in one convenient package. Just choose from their 4 mattresses, and then pick your bundle. So whether you need a mattress and a frame, or you want it all, like their cooling pillows and sheets, you can always get the best bang for your buck. Right now, GhostBed is offering a flash sale where you can get 40% off when you buy a mattress and adjustable base, or 30% off of everything when you use the promo code Drinkin' Bros. Head over to GhostBed.com/Drinkin' Bros to take advantage of all their awesome deals. That's GhostBed.com/Drinkin' Bros. GhostBed. Sleep so good, it's scary.
Sexy read, dude. Well done.
And this is actually the second episode that we will be doing one of our newest sponsors on.
Before we get into that, I mean, we have someone here that does every episode of their show on a Ghost Bed. What's it like for you?
I love it. And I was lamenting to Giorgio recently how I've had access to a lot of cool people and cool things, at times, and I am the worst at asking for free stuff. And
Me too.
I've noticed when other people do it, they get what they want.
Yeah.
And
The squeaky tire.
I can't do it. I'm always too afraid to ask for anything. But I was saying how much I love that ghost bed. I'd love to have one of those. And he's like, well, we're thinking about changing out the set. We could just give it to you. I'm like, What?
Yeah. Oh, I heard about this. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that's,
Giorgio's trying to get you that bed.
I will definitely take it. I not only love doing work here every Friday, and I am super comfortable. There's never a point when I'm doing that show that I don't feel like complete at ease, and I feel like I'm laying on a cloud when I'm focusing on work.
It's such a comfortable bed, and honestly, if anybody here in the studio deserves to take that home at this point, it's you.
It's definitely you, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
But if you take it home,
Earned
aren't
it.
you gonna have to do the show in like a kiddie pool or something?
Yeah, and that's fine.
Oh,
That's what I've heard.
I really, really hope that
I think that would
happens.
be more appropriate for my persona on the show anyways, yeah. In a car bed or a kiddie pool or something like that.
Holy shit, a race car bed
Yeah.
would be amazing.
That
And every
would be-
time we have a guest, we just have an because you can pick those up $50 at Walmart, right?
That's
Yeah,
oh
true.
shit, I might be replacing my bed at home then.
Yeah, just get a race car bed.
I can't remember where I saw the joke, but I think it might have been on Twitter or something like that. But I saw somebody say, "Oh, my cousin was bragging to me about sleeping in a race car bed." Well, I sleep in a real car.
I just got a Volvo, so
Oh yeah, that's right. How's it treating you so far?
pretty good. I haven't slept in it yet though, so we'll see.
Well, you were talking about sleeping here tonight.
Yeah.
That still might be a thing.
Yeah, I haven't done it yet. I mean, there's been times where I've had a little to drink, and I'll call an Uber or wait till I sober up and drive back down. But I might just go all in and.
I've
pound-
slept on it a few times. A
Yeah.
lot of people here
I
sleep
feel
on
like
that
I'm
bed.
the
Yeah.
only person that hasn't done a full night on it. At this
Yeah, which
point.
is surprising because you do a show on it every single week and you haven't had a chance to
It's
sleep
so
on it
comfortable.
yet.
I know I'll sleep well on it.
Oh, absolutely. I seriously need to get a new mattress because I've been complaining about my lower back all day today, and I think it has something to do with the
the topper,
horrible
dude.
secondhand mattress that I have.
Get the
Yeah, Jesse
topper.
was telling us about those the other day, the Ghost Bed toppers. I might need to get one of those. But our second sponsor for this episode is Roman. Now that the world is opening back up, there are many new thrills on the horizon. Whether you've been in a relationship for years, are just getting started, or excited to get back out there and meet new people, when the moment comes, you want to be ready. You want to be Roman ready. If you're ready to get Roman ready, go to getroman.com/icon today to talk to a U.S. licensed healthcare professional. With Roman, you can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for erectile dysfunction, all from the privacy of your home. The whole process is straightforward, convenient, and discreet. A U.S. licensed healthcare professional will work with you to find the best treatment plan, and if medication is appropriate, they will ship it to you with free 2-day shipping. Getting started is simple. Just go to getroman.com/icon and complete an online visit. Take care of your ED without leaving the comfort of your home. Complete an online visit today to connect with a U.S. licensed healthcare professional and take your first step towards being Roman ready. Go to getroman.com/icon, and if you're prescribed, you will get 50% off of your first month of ED treatment. So if you use the promo code ICON, getroman.com/icon, you'll get free 2-day shipping, and you'll get 50% off of your first month of ED treatment.
That's awesome.
That's getroman.com/icon. Make sure you're ready to have confidence and control this summer. Roman ready.
One of the things I want to say about them is when we talk to them on the phone and stuff, it's not just ED. They also cover all men's health, too. So it's like...
Condoms.
They do hair loss,
Everything.
testosterone
Yeah.
supplements. It's any sort of male health care that you need. It's all there.
That testosterone loss is a scary thing.
I have a feeling that I need to get tested for that because
At our age, everyone might as well, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're not feeling anything like that, because it's a scary thing.
well, also, so I do research and writing for fake news and APP, and that's something that's come up on both shows. Is that the average level of testosterone is declining in men pretty much around the world.
Really?
Yeah,
So it has nothing to do with technology or anything like that.
It could have something to do with I think it's the phthalates, or I'm not sure exactly how
Is it
to pronounce
a
it.
natural
but
part of
because
evolution.
we're not chopping heads.
I don't
all
know.
the time.
That's actually I'm kind of curious about that too because it
We don't have
seems
like
like
natural predators we got to worry about.
I mean we're not fighting wolves and saber-toothed tigers anymore, so it's a little bit easier for us to get by without having as much testosterone in our blood.
yeah, that's
So they help
crazy.
with that, too.
Yeah, testosterone supplements, hair loss. There's a lot of other services that they offer, and it's all geared towards men's health. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. You don't need to have any awkward visits with the doctor. You just handle it all online. They send
Do
it
it
straight
online
to
or
your
you
home,
do it on the phone.
and you're good to go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, I'm a lost cause on the hair loss thing, so no coming back from where I'm at.
Jesse gave us a wig. We could pass that off to you at some
Dude,
point.
I don't know. I mean, once I'll wait till 40. Maybe I'll become a toupee guy.
I think
would be
that
cool.
I think that
But you change it every day.
Yeah.
so
Is
is
it
it
be a redhead today?
is it true that hair loss comes from your mother's side of the family and not your father's?
That's what I've heard.
That's what I've heard also, and it seems like that might possibly be the case because every single guy on my dad's side of the family, all of his brothers ended up going bald. I think most of my uncles were bald by the time they got into their 30s or they
Yeah.
had started losing their hair in their 30s. My mom's side of the family, none of them ever lost their hair. My grandpa was in his 90s when he died, still had a full head of amazing
Could be,
hair.
yeah, it could be one of those maternal things that gets passed on.
In my family, my grandpa on my mom's side was bald by the time he was 40, fully bald. He was gray by the time he was like 25, fully white hair, and then
But does it necessarily carried on by the males? Maybe it's literally passed all through the.
Yeah, because I've heard it passes down from your mother's side of the family. So if everybody on your mom's side of the family has a full head of hair, then there's a good chance that you'll keep your hair.
they're bald. Is what I'm saying.
And it's coming for you.
Hey, maybe you're just a
don't
late
think so.
bloomer.
Yeah.
I am a late bloomer, actually. Except I started getting gray hair in high school, just like my grandpa, but I didn't go bald somehow.
I always assumed that had more to do with your lifestyle
stress
than
levels?
genetics. Because I know that I know for a fact that before we left California, I only had maybe 1 or 2 gray hairs in my beard. And now, anytime I let my facial hair grow out, I keep the mustache going. No gray hairs in the mustache yet. But anytime
There's some red ones in there.
I've always had the red ones.
They're gonna
That's
turn
the
gray.
Scandinavian.
Yeah, that's a Scandinavian.
Those will
Well,
be
I'm
the first to
also
go.
Scandinavian, Irish, and Welsh are the 3 most
But the
predominant.
reason why the Irish, the Welsh, the English, the Scottish all have red hair is it originated in Scandinavia. There's a reason why when you go out east and you go into those Central Asian countries, there's redheads because there were Vikings out there at one point.
That's what it is. Is that where the
What were they doing out there? They were just fucking.
raping, pillaging,
Yeah,
kidnapping women,
exploring,
taking them back home, exploring
trading,
also?
Yeah, they went all the way down into the Middle East. Now I'm assuming
Falling in love, Coop, sometimes, maybe falling in love.
Well, yeah, obviously, I would assume so.
You always just go
Was-
straight to the
Wasn't
hard
it one of
shit.
you guys, or we were talking about recently? The Vikings went all the way into the Middle East, and they were essentially acting as bodyguards for Arab frickin' royalty.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And later in the Roman Empire, they also started working as bodyguards. It seemed like everybody wanted to have.
Did
some
Caesar
sort
have
of,
any bodyguards? Viking
well, he
bodyguards?
had no,
Not good ones.
yeah, not good enough.
good
That's
enough.
for sure. Because there were plenty of senators that were able to get a knife in them. I think if he had some good Scandinavian bodyguards, nobody would have been able to get close to him.
No, those Vikings, they would have kept a little separation there
Yeah.
for money.
Oh, yeah, definitely got to pay him. Somebody who claims to not be all about money, but was surprisingly very
All about money?
interested in money, or at least interested in, didn't want the money, but still wanted the wealth in some way, shape, or form, was Che Guevara, which is who we've been talking about for the last 2 episodes. And today we're going to finish up that story. For a quick little recap, we've already covered his early trips through South America on a motorcycle.
Well, yeah, he spent plenty of time on vacation instead of getting his doctorate, but still somehow got it.
Yeah,
Was he a rich kid?
yes.
Makes sense.
So comparatively for the area and for the times, he was well off. I wouldn't say that he was from an ultra rich family, but he was from a well off middle class family. And it definitely shows because his family was able to send him off to medical school in Buenos Aires, and he just ditched a shitload of classes, and he would spend months
My whole
and
family's
months
from
at
Buenos
a-
Aires.
we
Sorry.
made that joke in the last episode
I
already.
know, I couldn't help
It's
it.
a Starship Troopers quote.
Oh, I know it.
Oh, okay, good. See,
yeah.
that's why I love Jack so much.
And I say kill them all.
And I say kill them all. So he took months at a time off of medical school to go traipsing around South America, made a trip out to Miami, wrote a diary that eventually got turned into the Motorcycle Diaries, which they left out a whole lot of racist comments from that diary. So
Oh, it's like Huckleberry Finn. They've conveniently kind of taken certain language out of it.
yeah, they left a few words out to make it a little bit more accessible for modern people.
Was it a real diary, or was it more of a memoir or a manifesto? Or
Well, I mean, coming from him, everything read like a manifesto because he was just constantly
Since a teenager.
verbally stroking his own ego. He was very, very, very in love with himself.
a spoiled rich kid?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So when he was on those trips, he was keeping a diary, and one of those diaries was eventually turned into the Motorcycle Diaries. But he continued keeping diaries for the remainder of his life, and there's also
He was writing fucked up, detailed information about when he killed people too. Like
Yeah,
he would
just
write in his
so
diary
cold
about
about
how
it also.
how much it turned him on to like blow someone's head off.
So a psychopath, an egomaniac.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, like we said, we were talking about it in the last episode that he was for sure a narcissistic sociopath, but at the same time, to me, I think it's sort of necessary for people like that to exist because they either go to, as Joel made the comparison, they either go to the light side of the force or the dark side of the force.
Yeah, because a lot of narcissists just get into politics and they never murder anybody.
Yeah,
Or they
well,
become actors.
They don't
Yeah, they
directly
become
murder
actors,
anybody.
exactly.
They might send other people to their deaths,
Right,
but they
right.
don't directly murder
Yeah.
anybody, except for the Kennedys. Well, which one was it that crashed into the water and left his girlfriend in the car and went into
That
the nap?
was Ted.
That was Ted Kennedy.
And I don't know if the Kennedys were narcissists, but they were spoiled rich kids. That's
That's
for sure.
for damn sure. I
Yeah.
mean, they're pretty much the equivalent of modern day or American royalty. That's what they're usually referred to as, right? It's like
Yeah,
American
the whole
nobility.
Camelot thing. But it's not. Well, I mean, Joe was a bootlegger. Like, he was a thug. He was a criminal. He just did what a lot of mobsters do. They put on a nice suit and they make friends with politicians and they legitimize themselves and they eventually go into more normal business. But they made their family fortune through thug activity.
And everybody kind of forgets where they came from, and all of a sudden, they're running the country.
Yeah,
I mean,
there you
still
go.
running the country.
There's a
that's
lot
why-
of Kennedys in power.
That's for
That's why
damn sure.
America's awesome.
The Bushes are the rights equivalent, or they have historically been the rights equivalent of the Kennedys.
Isn't there? There's some royal family that, like, a huge percentage of American politicians can trace their lineage back to. Like, it might be.
Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. Everybody is within 6 degrees of the royal
Bush
the royal
and Obama
Bacons.
are related to each other.
Yeah, they're that same family. Was that the Tudors that they
If
were?
they're related to the Tudors, good for them. That they had a hard time getting by.
There's I can't remember which royal family it was, but there's some royal family that the family that Bush and Obama are descendants of.
Maybe the Georgians.
Possibly, I don't remember off the top of my head, but it seems like even though we did our very best to do away with nobility here in America, we're still being ruled by the descendants of a lot of the same.
Oh, the wealth that
nobles.
came over here, a lot of it has been generational, almost from the beginning. Or people who really got in on our industrialization in the 19th century, there's a shitload of generational wealth there, and they're all still friends with each other or related to each other.
Yeah, it's
Just like the incestuous European bloodlines.
I don't know how long it's going to take to get rid of that, but honestly, I don't see us really getting rid. I mean, I bet like Jeff Bezos's children.
They'll be good.
Yeah,
He has new money, so
That's true. His kid, depending on what he does with his wealth after he dies, his children could go on to be the have descendants that turn into presidents and things like that in the future. So anyway, going back to Che Guevara, talked about
we ended the last episode on Che writing in his journal about shooting a 12-year-old kid in the back of the neck.
Shot him at the so this 12 somewhere between the ages of 12 and 14, this kid tried to intervene when some of the revolutionaries were trying to execute his father. That ended
for
up
doing
getting,
the crime of having money.
no, I think his father was just doing the crime of being on the wrong side of the fight.
Yeah.
Or possibly even just disagreeing with some of the revolutionaries, because that in those turbulent times, the guys marching around with the guns that are they're very amped up, and if
Yeah.
they don't have a a moral compass that's pointing in a different direction,
They'll do some fucked
it's
up shit.
pretty easy to just grab
It's-
someone and shoot them on
with
the street.
any no matter how idealistic it is, even of the American Revolution, it really boils down to whoever can act like the biggest fucking thug.
Yeah.
It's how Stalin came to power. He was
Yeah.
the biggest thug out of because you had the Trotskys who were like intellectuals. Well, they weren't going to survive against a guy like Stalin who just would fucking kill you.
Yeah.
And that's really what got Che to become such a major figure. I mean, that's the reason that he's on. People don't necessarily realize it, but that's the reason that he's on T-shirts today, is because what gave him so much power during the revolution, he was not a strategic mastermind. He was charismatic and he was bloodthirsty. So because Che was so willing to violently assert his authority over other people, that's what kept him so popular in today's pop culture movement. It's just people have once again forgotten about all the atrocities that he committed, because I really don't think that the body count may be different, but in terms of the mentality and being a sociopath, he's no different than Stalin. He was completely willing to murder his way to the top, and
keep murdering.
and keep going. He signed. So the figures are a little up in the air because the records weren't kept super well, but it's somewhere
Like his doctorate records.
Yeah, like his fake doctorate that he supposedly got. He spent so much time away from school that there's literally no possible way that he could have become a doctor.
Yeah.
So he claimed that
Was
he
it
was
a
a doctor.
medical degree or?
Yeah, which back then I think that they were playing a little fast and loose with that, because I think that it was like a 6-month course.
Ooh.
But
He was
over
a
the
dentist or whatever, right?
well, no, that's what the other gorillas called him, and he didn't
called him
like
the
that.
dentist. Oh, that's right.
And that's
Okay.
why he shot one guy in the head, is because he knew that they were having a
Very sensitive fella.
yeah, very
Don't
very
call
sensitive.
me a dentist.
Yeah.
He said in his diary, he describes this execution that he carried out, where this group of revolutionaries were unsure of what to do to somebody that had allegedly been informing on them to the Batista government. So since nobody else knew what to do, Che just walked up and shot the guy in the head, and then looted his body and took all his shit, which, to be honest, from what I can tell, is a very communist thing to do.
Very, thuggish thing to do.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Were Che and Castro really boys, really tight, or were they just together out of necessity?
I personally believe that Castro saw a utility in Che Guevara. Che Guevara,
He was the muscle.
yeah, he was willing to commit violence, but I think the most useful thing about Che Guevara is that he was very charismatic, and because he was so in love with himself, he was able to convince other people to love him, which is very good for recruitment. It's very good for optics and publicity. It's a good person to put out in front and be like, hey, look at this guy. He's
So I'm sorry. Was Castro the bigger brains of the operation, or was
Yes.
it a mutual? Yeah, he was.
Absolutely. Castro was absolutely the bigger brains of the operation, because everything that Che Guevara tried to do without Castro failed miserably. And there's also a decent amount of evidence that Che Guevara wasn't very smart. He wasn't very good with strategy. He got some lucky wins. What's funny is what I keep thinking of,
Do you think they were Eskimo brothers?
Gotta be, right?
considering their views on homosexuality.
Well,
I don't know.
Eskimo brothers, it doesn't have to be at the same time. It's just sleeping with the same girl.
Oh yeah, most
When you're in
definitely.
certain levels of power, people, and I think that not only goes for anywhere. That goes for here in the United States and D.C. Like people get around, and it's
Yeah.
usually the same circles of people fucking each other.
Yeah, so most likely, yeah, they
were Eskimo
brothers.
Rest
But
in peace.
whereas Fidel had Fidel was also a very impassioned speaker. He was also very charismatic. He also had the political mind and the strategic mind to really push things forward, because everything that Che did without Fidel ended up being a complete disaster. which is what ultimately ended up leading to Che's death, is that he wasn't as good of a politician as Fidel Castro was.
Yeah, because once you're done with the violence and revolution phase, you got to set up the government.
Yeah, and everything that Che did in the Cuban government failed horribly. Absolutely horribly. And then I think that's one of the reasons that, I mean, maybe we'll end up talking about it a little bit more later in the episode, but I think that that's really, it's what ended up getting Che killed, and I think that that might have possibly been part of Castro's plan.
Ooh.
So
Is this a conspiracy theory, or is there a lot of evidence to support this?
There's a decent amount of people that kind of subscribe to the same school of thought, and to me it makes a lot of sense that once the Cuban Revolution was over,
There's no use for him.
yeah, and he actually became a little bit of a threat, because if Che ever decided that Fidel wasn't the person that he was going to follow anymore, he would have been able to generate enough support
Civil War.
to cause some problems for Fidel. So Fidel let him go off and do these pet projects just to keep him busy.
Like Thomas Jefferson, when he was done getting the United States through its revolution, he's like, I'm gonna go with France next.
Yeah. Yeah, and in this situation, it ended up with a pretty violent but fitting death. So in 1961, Guevara was appointed as the Minister of Industry and used his position to royally fuck the Cuban economy for years to come. And this is just after the end of the Cuban Revolution, when they're kind of consolidating power and setting up a government and everything. Castro appointed Fidel as the Minister of Industry, and he really...
Which in a communist country, that's a really important position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He attempted to harvest raw materials in Cuba and broker export deals with other countries, but as we've mentioned before, he was a fucking moron. Due to his infantile understanding of both industry, economics, and diplomacy, his plans failed miserably. Workers were assigned jobs and given quotas to fill. Those who failed to meet the quotas received less pay, while those that exceeded the quotas were only given a useless certificate of appreciation, which is not really a good driving force to get people to want to go above and beyond if all you get is a certificate of appreciation.
Yeah, and does that really follow the ideals of communism by
I know,
setting up a
it's
point
still,
system?
Yeah, it just doesn't make any goddamn sense to me. Under his new economic plan, production decreased while work absences drastically increased. So people were calling in sick to work a lot because they were getting worked to death, but it didn't matter if they worked harder because they weren't going to get anything else for it. Unsurprisingly, people were unwilling to work their fingers to the bone without proper incentive, and the economy began to fail. Within 2 years, the island's economy was doing so poorly that it was only able to survive thanks to Soviet subsidies. And I think it's somewhere around like $120 million that the Soviets had to send Cuba to keep it afloat while they were going through this whole process. Guevara wasn't happy with only fucking up the lives of the Cubans. He wanted to branch out and fuck up lives all over the world. He especially wanted to fuck up the lives of the Yankee capitalist pigs in the United States. During the
He
Cuban
didn't like
Missile-
us?
Oh, God, he hated Americans a lot. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, when the Soviet nukes were removed from Cuba, the rest of the world breathed a sigh of relief, where Che, on the other hand, stomped his feet and threw a fit like the spoiled little child that he was. In an interview with a British reporter named Sam Russell, Che said, and I have to do the Che voice again on this one.
Yep.
I don't think it's all that good of a voice, but we'll make it work. If the missiles had remained, we would have used them against the very heart of the U.S., including New York. We must never establish peaceful coexistence. In this struggle to the death between two systems, we must gain the ultimate victory. We must walk the path of liberation, even if it costs millions of atomic victims. So, I mean, he truly was a man of the people.
So yeah, with Kennedy versus Shea there, it was rich kid versus rich kid.
Yeah.
He's talking
Luckily-
about dropping nukes?
Yeah. The Soviets had nukes stationed in Cuba, which put them within striking distance of America, and there was a whole lot of negotiations that went on to try to get them taken out of there.
Yeah.
And it was Nikita Khrushchev, I believe, was.
Yeah, and thank God, right?
Thank God.
People don't realize he was so good to take over after Stalin died because he was one of the guys that knew how fucked up Stalin was, but he was able to stick around long enough to where Stalin didn't find him as a threat or kill him. And then when Stalin died, he was able to thaw out. They called it the thaw. He was able to thaw out all the pressure and craziness and insanity of not just the USSR but the party.
It really is amazing that he was able to do that without getting in Stalin's crosshairs, because Stalin executed people just for not clapping long enough.
Yeah.
Like, people would die for the most ridiculous fucking reasons.
If you want to be anybody in life, you want to be a Nikita Khrushchev, who, no matter who's in power, you're able to get by long enough to have your moment and make things better the best you can.
And help prevent a nuclear holocaust.
Yeah.
In the following years, Che took his revolutionary shit show on the road, with his first attempt being in his home country of Argentina. Che himself was too busy signing death warrants in Cuba, so instead, he sent his friend, a former journalist named Jorge Massetti, not the most ideal candidate for leading a revolution. Massetti started off as a journalist that was just covering the revolution, ended up becoming friends with the revolutionaries, and then became effectively like a military officer.
Journalism 101, don't get involved with the story like that.
Yeah, seriously.
Don't become part of the story.
It didn't end up going so well for him. In September of 1963, Massetti led a small band of well-armed Cuban commandos from Bolivia into northern Argentina. The men had their proclamation of revolution broadcast by the media in Buenos Aires, which was met with a resounding whatever. Nobody gave a shit. They had these revolutionaries marching into Argentina, broadcasted over the radio. The average citizen on the streets was like,
Don't care.
okay, I'm just going to go to work.
Yeah.
Just did not give a shit.
Look at these clowns.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
But there was one group that did care. The citizens of Argentina largely ignored the declaration and went about their business. The only group to pay attention was the local police, who promptly tracked down and killed or captured all of the rebels. There wasn't even all that much of a fight. They were just like, oh, these guys are going to come in and try to start a revolution. Let's go kill them.
Was Argentina rocking the kind of due process we're accustomed to here in the United States at that time?
I
or-
think that it was a little hit or miss. If it was well publicized enough, then they would probably err on the side of caution. But if they just
No one gave a shit.
find
so
them
they
out in the
just took 'em
bushes,
out.
they're like, yeah, nobody's going to know if we just kind of pop this
Yeah.
guy in the head. And
like old Wild West shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
What year was this?
This was in the early 60s.
Okay, yeah.
So I think this was around, 1963.
Would you
Wow,
party?
see.
Would you guys party with them?
With Che Guevara?
If it was like Che and Chato, whatever his name is?
Fidel Castro?
Yeah,
I'll-
and we were just hanging out.
May I give my take
Yeah,
on that?
actually, I'd like to hear it.
So I'm not a hyper political guy. I have opinions in some ways, but I always keep my opinions to myself, really. And I think I grew up in a great environment where, like, I kind of was around a lot of political diversity. So I don't demonize people who have differing political opinions. But I'll say this: this is how I look at this. Because I know a couple active Congress people, and I've been around people in power and shit. This is the way I look at it. If a person is a genuinely a fun person, and by the way, politics has nothing to do with the quality of a human being, or their politics has nothing to do with
With who they
Oh,
are.
that-
with who they are inherently as a person.
Yeah, that I can absolutely believe.
Yeah, and so if I'm around people and I just find out that they're just fun, cool people who tell great stories and are fun to drink with, and they like to party, I will hang out with anybody. If Karl Marx was a great guy to drink beer with and he told great stories and all politics aside, I'd party with Karl Marx. And
I'd hang out with him
yeah,
too.
Yeah, and who's like the right's equivalent of a Marx? Thomas Paine or something like that? Or Ayn Rand, right?
Oh, yeah.
If
Yeah,
Ayn
Ayn Rand's a
Rand
good
was like a really awesome chick, told great stories, and had some great blow on her, I'd party with Ayn Rand. But if either of them were assholes, I wouldn't want to have anything to do with them. I don't give a shit about their politics.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it sounds like Che Guevara is not the kind of guy I'd want to hang out with. But I don't know that much about Castro.
I mean,
as
he
a
must have been
politician, I disagree with him.
But he must have been a good schmoozer. He
I
got a
think
lot
they
of
both
people.
were super fun.
I might have been
to party with.
susceptible to his bullshit. Who knows? I could
I
be a
would be.
communist if I was living in Cuba in the late 50s, early 60s.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I don't know myself.
A lot of people joined his cause. It's funny that you put it that
Like
way.
even that
because-
journalist joined up.
Yeah,
journalist was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go to war for these people."
Yeah. It's like, oh, these guys are fun. I'm going to hang out with them. And then they just gave him a position as an
You
officer.
know they had good parties, is what I was trying to say.
Oh,
Yeah.
they
Oh,
did
I
a
bet.
whole
Oh, yeah.
whole lot of fucking. So Che Guevara's. Oh no, they did, because Che Guevara's journal is broken down into like 3 different things. It's him verbally stroking his own ego, talking about how great and amazing he is.
The majority of it.
The majority of it. Him describing atrocities that he either committed or took part in with pride.
Yeah.
Enjoyed.
Or him talking about
Banging chicks.
banging chicks. Yes, there is. That's actually.
He would have made a great Viking.
Oh, yeah. That's actually a good. Well, I think the Vikings had a little bit more honor than he did, possibly. But it's funny that you put it that way. That, if somebody's cool and fun to be around, you don't really care about their political
I don't give a
leanings,
shit, yeah.
because for some reason it popped into my head the other night where. So we've said some things on this show that could be considered racially insensitive, and it's made me wonder, like, do people think that we're possibly racist?
Racially or culturally.
And I was thinking about it, and I was like, wait, no, I know for a fact that I'm not racist because I don't care enough. It takes some care to be a racist. You
It
have
takes
to
insecurity to be a racist.
insecurity is also
real
and
insecurity to be a
and
racist.
It takes the amount of it takes some amount of effort to want to hate somebody so much for no good goddamn reason.
Yeah.
And I don't have that in me at all, because I don't give a fuck what somebody looks like. If they're an asshole, I don't like them. If they're cool, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hang out. I just don't care about. I don't care about the proximity to the equator of somebody's ancestors more than I care about how they treat me
proximity
and
to the
people around
equator.
me.
Yeah.
That's it. So I'm white. I don't know if you know that. I'm
What?
white. Yeah. I don't know. People might assume like I'm kind of light white, like maybe Greek or Italian white, but I'm actually like traditional white, like that Northern European of descent white. There's like nothing. There's no Greek or even Eastern European in me.
White as
It's all-
fuck.
It's all English and Scottish, that kind of
I
white.
share that in common.
And so all the racism I've seen is in my life or witness has been from white people, because I'm around mostly white people. So, and what I can't stand a lot of the time, I don't want to sideball this thing. I can shut up now if you'd like.
No, please
Well,
keep going.
So, and one of the things I can't stand is when like white dudes, whenever like the topic of like systemic racism or just good old fashioned, rebel flag N-word racism comes up, they get super defensive. They're like, "Well, they do it too." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but it's a different kind of flavor, and there's reasons, and context means a lot with these things." I can't stand when the white people just try to deflect when you try to address white racism in this country, which has been detrimental to people.
It's been a pretty big factor in the
In the worst shit that's happened here. Yeah. So, but I for the first time I was on Twitter, because Twitter is where you're going to see all sorts of racism.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And I was looking at this Twitter account where it was like this, like they really hated white people and everything like that. And I remember thinking, like to myself, like, this chick's pretty angry. I would never want to hang out with her.
I mean, it must
That's
be.
all I thought. Is like if she was just saying white people, like if she was like even framing it differently, I would have been, oh fuck, okay, I'll still hang out with you, I guess, okay. But like she was like so angry in a sense, like, well, she's never gonna like me. Fuck her, okay.
It would be fucking exhausting to be around people like that. Also,
That are angry like that all the time.
Yeah.
Well, as a white guy, I can tell you it's exhausting to be around those kind of white people. And I only haven't experienced it on the other end because I'm insulated with a lot of white people, and also, like the worst that's going to happen to me as a white guy is, having to read mean shit about me on Twitter. So no one's going to deny me a job.
You're telling me that is not the equivalent to slavery? How dare you? No, I mean my whole thing has always been like if somebody is willing to just in a blanket manner discount an entire group of people,
That's real racism.
that's
Yeah.
and I even apply it to a lot of different areas where it's like I would much rather judge the individual based on their qualities regardless of who they're associated with, and be like, oh, you know what, like you were saying about politics, if you're a cool person, you're fun to be around, you're nice to people, I'm not going to judge
But
you.
you're shooting kids in the back of the head.
Well, no,
I only want to be
applying
friends
that.
with communists
That's
who
what
don't
makes-
do murder. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll party with a communist that doesn't do murder. Same thing with like super capitalists. There's a lot of capitalists that do murder. I don't want to hang out with those capitalists.
Yeah.
I want to hang out with capitalists that don't do murder.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah, if someone is a good, decent person, I mean, honestly, if I could say that I was biased towards any specific group, it would be the willfully ignorant.
Well, what
The-
if
the
somebody
people
when
who
they
are-
Kind
were
of like me, right?
Well, no, because you're willing to think for yourself. You're willing to take in ideas and form your own opinion and act upon those opinions. And I mean, you are one of the last people that I would ever call ignorant, because almost any historical topic that I've ever had a discussion with you about,
you know something about it.
yeah, you've always got your own thought out opinions about it and information about it. You remember dates way better than I do.
Well, and more importantly, I don't do murder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't.
Well,
do
we
murder
don't know
also.
that. We just have to.
I guess you never really
we
know
just have to
anything about
believe you.
anybody. Yeah.
I assumed so because you were a nice guy, and I always kind of assumed that the murder. Well, no, wait, shit.
Jay was probably a super nice guy.
and really
Well, he was fun to party with.
charismatic,
It's fun
funny,
to party with.
um,
Girls, fun, drinking, smoking, toking.
I don't
jacking,
do
jerking.
girls and partying and all that fun though.
True. Well,
Yeah, me
well,
neither.
you don't need to anymore. You got your HSG at
Got the
home.
HSG and I get 8 hours of sleep. This isn't about me, okay? It's about communists.
No, we're putting
I'm gonna-
you on trial here.
Jack, I go to see my Czech Spice tomorrow.
Oh, she's coming in.
No, I'm going. We're meeting in Mexico.
Oh, nice. Ooh.
That's
Yeah,
actually
Mexico City.
knocking two birds out with one stone, getting to be with a lady, getting to go to Mexico.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I've never been to
actually-
Mexico City. So
that's why
Ooh,
we're
there's
doing
Mexico
the-
City.
Yeah,
I've only heard that Mexico City is fucking terrifying, but that might just be the white interpretation that I get from like the news and shit.
I mean, I would.
I've done a bunch of research and I talked to.
Yeah, there's 30 million people there. There's
It's
going to
New
be
York.
bad neighborhoods.
There's
Oh,
bad
yeah.
areas. You can look up where they are and stuff. You avoid certain areas, but it's basically
Like downtown
New
Mexico
York.
City is probably bomb as fuck.
Yeah, we're staying like right in the historic district. There's a bunch of, castles and museums.
There's
and
castles everywhere
palaces.
but fucking America.
Yeah.
I want to go to a
Yeah,
goddamn castle in my
even
life,
when
and
the
I've never
Spanish
seen
showed
one.
up to the Western Hemisphere, like, oh, let's keep doing this castle
Yeah,
thing.
keep building some
But
shit.
yeah, we got stuck with the fucking English and shit predominantly showing up in this area, and they were in. Yeah, now we have colonial homes.
Yeah, all we
They burn
have
down
here is
easy.
we've got fucking Hearst Castle, which William Randolph Hearst is going to be a future topic, and that's another person that I could probably get pretty passionately angry about because, God,
Piece of shit?
Oh, huge piece of shit.
Probably fun to party with, but not a good guy.
I mean, he was probably a very, very fun to party with.
Yeah.
Because I mean, have either one of you guys ever been to Hearst Castle before?
no, I'm assuming it's in the Northeast.
Yeah, it's semi close to. I mean, not really close to San Francisco. It's in Northern California.
Oh,
I've
I
seen
didn't
it.
know that at all.
Yeah,
I haven't been in there though.
I got to go there when I was like 14, 15 years old. All of the cool historic places that I've ever been to, I went to when I was too young to appreciate where I was going.
Yeah.
So like I haven't been to the Alamo since I moved to Texas, and I've been wanting to go since
We gotta
I've
go there.
come here. But I got to go
man,
when I was
I'm
like,
telling you,
like
man,
14.
that is one of the most beautiful gift shops you'll ever see.
It's a shithole, right?
It's
I mean, it's an
You
old
should- you-
Adobe fortress.
you should go there, but it's
That's why I want to go because it's a
the
shithole.
legend outweighs what you're seeing while you're there.
oh,
Now, San Antonio has 4 other missions that are untouched and in mint original condition that are
That's cool.
the same age as the Alamo and beautiful, and they're all part of the national parks. You can go there.
I guess that's something else that I've checked out that I never fully appreciated is when I was living in Southern California. We had the
missions
mission,
everywhere.
Yeah, missions
Yeah.
all over the place. The Santa
The
Barbara
Spanish
mission,
got
Ventura
around.
mission. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, isn't like I think the majority of the 101 just traces the route of what was the name?
It was all Spain,
Padre,
and at one point it was all
Padre
Mexico.
something.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Coop, you got to see a real castle. Dude.
I want to see a real castle in
that
my
castle
lifetime.
in North Macedonia, Samuel's Fortress.
Samuel's
is what
Fortress,
it's
yeah.
called.
And that area has not only what we would consider medieval castles, but they have
OG
Greek
shit.
castles
Yeah.
there.
Now, this might come as a shock to anybody that listens to the show, but I have a pretty big fascination with Roman history. I know, shocker, but it is. So I've got a few goals in my life where, one, I want to go see some actual Roman buildings, regardless of whether or not it's in Italy. Like I would love
There was
to
Roman
see,
architecture there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think Samuel's Ars Fortress was actually, wasn't it originally built?
There was
by
stuff
the-
around it.
Oh, stuff around it was built.
There
by
was
the
like this
Romans.
church that had Roman pillars and shit. From
Didn't they
like a
also
time
have
before
like
the church
an
was built?
aqueduct or something around there?
Yeah, I can't remember right now, but there was like a weird. Some Roman soldier retired and moved there while they were still fighting, but befriended all the neighboring people and helped them build the church, and then had like a little Roman area and made 2 baths for himself and his wife. And then when they died, it just became like baths for everybody, for all like the orphans. This Roman soldier was like giving all his money to orphans and stuff from to the enemy, just because he was, cool.
That's extremely admirable.
Yeah, at the time too.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see something that has some sort of ruins, either from the Roman Republic era. I would like to see that
go to
more, but the
Scotland,
Empire.
they still have the wall up there.
Hadrian's Wall.
Yeah.
Was that from the Republican era? I thought that was from the Roman Empire. I could be absolutely wrong.
No, you're right. That was from
was the Roman Empire?
Yeah.
So I do want to see stuff from the Roman Empire also, but I think one of my biggest dreams is to be able to stand somewhere that Caesar actually stood.
Dude,
I think that
we gotta do that.
would be a mind-blowing emotional moment for me to be able to.
we have to go and do that and do an episode there.
Why don't you go to where Vercingetorix did his last stand. You're bound to step where Caesar stepped.
You can actually still visit the prison that Vercingetorix was held in after Caesar captured him. It's still standing to this day, and it's just this tiny little
If you
stone.
go there,
building.
you're bound to hit the spot where
Yeah,
Caesar
I
We
mean,
should go to the shoreline where Caesar got some boats and went to attack Britain.
I think that. Over there. Okay, that was in France. That was close
Yeah.
to. I think it was either close
you
to
stand on
Nice
that
or
beach,
Marseille.
dude. Stand on that beach.
But I thought you were going to say where Caesar went and crucified all those pirates, and I was going to say
that'd
that's
be good
over.
too.
That's actually in
But
Turkey,
that's-
which you've
yeah.
been to.
Yeah.
But yeah, standing somewhere that Caesar's actually been before, which I don't idolize Caesar, and I don't think that he was necessarily a good person. I think he was a great person, like
And
Dan Carr.
fascinating.
Absolutely a fascinating person, very influential on our modern lives. He was still a monster.
Yeah, it's like being an actor, man. Like people don't like a lot of times actors will play certain characters. They don't like the characters they're playing, but it's their job to be that character and be that piece of like James Gandolfini always was very open with the fact that he hated Tony Soprano as a person.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean,
he did not like
understandably.
Tony Soprano, but he had to be Tony Soprano.
And he did a really fucking good job of it.
And he was able to disassociate himself. I'm James Gandolfini, the actor, and he was able to look at the character that had nothing to do
but
with him.
no one else was
Just-
able to do that.
Yeah.
Because he's just Tony now.
And that's what sucks is Tony Soprano was a piece of shit, and James Gandolfini was the opposite of that, right?
Yeah.
But that's I'm the same way. I can't stand it when you study someone in any historical context and you're fascinated by them. I'm fascinated by certain parts of history. Doesn't mean I like what was going on. I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's the
there's a big
thing.
difference.
I've spent so much time reading about the topic that being able to get that much closer of a connection with this topic that I've spent so much time researching would just be almost a religious moment for me. Where
You
it's
think
like,
you'd
all
masturbate
of this stuff.
if
no.
you were at the Coliseum?
No, I don't think so.
I think you would. I've known you for 20 years.
I'm not sure if the Coliseum. Well, yeah. And how many times have you seen me masturbate in public?
Public. Well, I didn't say it would be right there in the moment, but
Oh, okay. So yeah, fair enough. Maybe, maybe, but that's my business, nobody else's.
sorry.
Or you could go back to your hotel and then fantasize about the Colosseum.
Yeah.
Oh, that I would do.
Thinking about your hand touching the same wall that Julius Caesar touched.
No, see,
While watching a porn?
Honestly, I think. Well, I don't know if I would go that far, but honestly,
You don't know.
I don't know.
You ever watch
I would like to find
Roman-themed
out.
porn?
Have you? Oh,
Can
he
I
hasn't. I could tell.
Yeah.
Can I,
No, I
can
don't
I
think
do
so.
something?
You need
Can
to do
I-
it.
Yeah.
I know male pornographic. I don't know him well, but like we know mutual
know some
people.
Roman
We've
porn?
hung out a couple times. His name's Will Pounder. He's like, yeah, great name, right?
Dude, that name is amazing.
Yeah, but he's actually a pretty good actor too.
Wait,
So-
so he's
He's male talent.
okay. For some reason, I
He's
just
acting.
automatically conflated that with him being a homosexual porn star.
No,
And I was
he's,
going to say, it'd be way better
I
if
think
he
Will
was.
Pound
always.
Yeah, no, that's
I think
that's
he's
why I
always
picked up
done
on it.
Roman.
man on woman,
Boy-girl stuff?
Yeah. But
He'll do
I
anything.
pitched this to him because he's really into the industry. He knows the business side of the industry. He's not just on, he's not just a dick. Like he knows the business aspects of the industry pretty well. And wouldn't it be awesome if they did historical themed porns, not just one like movie where it's like, oh, look at these pirates banging these winches. But I'm talking like you're doing an actual storyline. You're literally like, if you were to do a porn revolving around like Benjamin Franklin, you are showing Benjamin Franklin, him going to Paris.
It would be MILF porn.
But you're showing Benjamin Franklin going to Paris, all the things.
Wait, you're talking about making historical porn?
Yes, but like
But
you're
like-
actually
like qual-
educating.
qual-
No, you're-
Educational porn.
No, you're educating. You're literally showing real historical events. Why Benjamin Franklin went to Paris. You're creating an actual plot. You're telling the story of why he went there. But Benjamin Franklin was known for what? Fucking French chicks. So there's fuck scenes in it.
Oh yeah.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he was a famous horn dog.
Well, that's what you
So I'm
find that
saying,
if you do some research, you
with
find that out. He's not
Cleopatra and
famous for it.
Caesar and all of them, you're
Cleopatra
actually
was hot.
you're putting 50% of it into. You're not just. It's not like porn actors. It's not like pornos where the actors want to act. It's it's an educational thing, and then
Dude,
I don't want to fucking learn shit.
Caesar
when I'm
and
trying to jerk
Cleopatra
off.
bang, so you show that part.
I would wholeheartally be behind that idea, which actually reminds me the first ever pornographic movie I ever watched was just called Kama Sutra. And
Sutra.
from my recollection, it has higher production value than most films nowadays.
A lot of porns have high production value. You know what most porn has always lacked in? Maybe you could talk about the golden era of porn, where it lacks in good writing. It lacks in writing, and it starts with the writing. So when you
You have
do
the
historical
volume down
porn,
most of the
you're
time
not you're
anyway.
not writing
Yeah.
it around the fuck scenes. You're writing it around the education, but you're writing it about historical characters who are known for their fucking. Like you do a whole movie, you do a feature about Genghis Khan, right? You could have
Oh,
the most
God, that
epic
would
orgy
be-
scenes, but you're literally showing how he made his way west and took down Novgorod
You're out of your
and
fucking
Baghdad.
mind. You're out of your mind.
I love that idea though, and also I mean
The last thing I want to do is fucking learn something while I'm trying to jerk off.
Well, anybody can watch it for any reason that they want, but the history nerds would have a reason to
Yes.
watch
Oh,
the
it would
whole
get
thing.
him
Best of
off.
both
Oh,
worlds,
yeah.
okay, I get it. Okay.
No,
I
it would
get
be fucking awesome. Didn't they
I'm learning
released
something
a
that it would turn you on.
well, I don't think it would. See,
Well, it depends.
I'm so much of a
And we
nerd.
get,
I
like,
would just
Daniel Day can't. What we can't. Well, he's not going to do porn. But we get like handsome.
Daniel Day dildo.
I bet
like
if
a
Dan-
knockoff
I,
actor.
I
that's
bet
kinda
if
like him.
Daniel Day Lewis made a movie about a porn actor, he would actually fuck in the movie. He is such
Well,
a
he's
method
method,
actor.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that he would just go full
Yeah, he's
force.
method. He might do some penetration just for the sake of the character.
Yeah.
No,
I
anyways,
love
I'm sorry,
that
and I'm
idea.
sorry to take us off track, but even if we did a Che Guevara thing, we're literally telling this. But
Jack,
yeah,
you want to make historically accurate educational porn? Is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
yeah,
I mean,
That's brilliant.
I'll
Yeah.
shoot it.
I think that's brilliant.
yeah, and then you could Caesar in Egypt, man. And then you got great actual real life plot twists with fucking Mark Anthony showing up and all that shit, man.
Dude, and okay, so Joel and I are both video game nerds. I mean, I think you're a video game nerd too. Like,
No, I'm not a gamer. I'll play sports games and put it on easy, and that's about it.
Nah, I think you played a little.
Total War.
Oh yes, PC shit.
Yeah.
Yes, Total War was my jam, but it's not like, oh, this is the next game I'm going to try out. That's all I played for years.
Joel and I can both vouch for the fact that between him and I, Assassin's Creed has probably taught us more history than school ever did.
I've never
And then
played that.
True.
it surprisingly
The newer
it's
games, they
loosely
stopped,
historically
Which
yeah, the
pisses
newest
me
ones
off.
aren't as
Like
good.
the new games don't do it, but in the old Assassin's Creed game, like everywhere you went, there'd be like information about where you were.
And
it
factual
was-
information
and I-
about,
and I like-
about what was going on during the era. They would include real historic figures. I mean, it's historic
But
fiction,
that's how I learned
obviously.
ancient geography was through the Total War series.
Same here. That's how
Yeah.
I first started learning about Caesar and the Republic of Rome was by
Yes.
playing Total War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And you know the names of all the old cities and
Yeah, because
you
of
know
the
the
fucking
cities that have
game.
been around since day one. And
yeah, and I mean you go into pornography with that, you're going to have a much wider audience because not everybody plays video games, but I dare say damn near everybody jacks off.
Everybody jacks off. And you know that a lot of people are reluctant to fully go into that's not true at all. But a lot of people are afraid to admit that they fully go into porn because porn these days is really dirty when you think about it. It's low production
Well, you could
value.
go-
It's all
could have stunt
they're
doubles.
just running through the same dudes and chicks, and it's everything's. They're so obsessed with realism that there's no art. The art in porn is gone.
Yeah, gonzo porn has kind of taken over
It's
over
the way it is,
industry.
and I'm not going to say it's dirty as in it's wrong, but it's dirty as in there's no effort put into it.
Yeah.
Bring back the art in porn. Let's write a good fucking script. We'll hire some dude that knows porn well to coordinate
Wait,
the
do you
fuck
know-
scenes. I'll write the historical part. We'll get a fucking young hungry director that fucking
Have you watched Gaspar Noé's films?
no.
Oh, Gaspar
There you
Noé
go.
rides the line.
He does
Yeah,
exactly.
porn?
There's a movie he wrote and
Where there's-
directed.
there's-
It's called Love, and it's literally just a porno movie.
Yeah, with the story,
the-
like
with the-
really well shot.
He makes his movies are fucking weird, dude. He's a French guy, I think. But the movie
Because if you show sex artistically, it's
That's all he
beautiful.
cared- like, his
when you
shit
show
is- he's
sex
obsessed with that.
pornographically, yeah, you're getting your rocks off, but there's no beauty. There's no. It's literally purely physical. And
should
it's
watch-
It's just coming.
watch
Yeah.
Enter the Void by Gaspar Noé, and then watch
Is that
Love.
the one with the CGI dick?
No, it's
CGI.
a dildo.
Oh, okay.
But there's it's a movie with actual pornographic sex in it, and then he made this movie called Love, which I haven't seen, but all I've heard is it's just basically a porno with
Is he he's
incredible.
European?
Yeah, he's a French.
Europeans are so much better at doing artistic porn, I guess if you could call it that, than Americans are. Because Americans
Yeah,
will
'cause they're
try
not
it,
afraid
but
of sex as much
it still
as we
looks
are.
shitty.
Well, I think that's because all the uptight people that got sick of all the sex over in Europe. They were the Puritans that came over to America and founded the country. So we got founded by a bunch of
We don't know how to show.
uptight
We can show
squares.
violence very well in this country, but we don't know how to show sex well.
Yeah, which also
Yeah,
blows
we're
my
good at
mind.
the
You
killing,
can-
but we're not good at the fucking.
Like you can have a TV show like the CSI series that shows graphically mutilated bodies.
But you can't,
Can't
show a
show-
titty.
yeah, can't show topless
show
women.
a titty. The most normal, basic. It literally is what makes children live.
I dare
You
say
can't even
every
show
fucking
butts if
every
the balls are showing underneath.
Oh, well, I mean that's showing balls. That's
Do you
not
remember
just
when
showing
Dennis
but it's a
Franz
dark silhouette.
showed
It's
his
not really-
butt?
NYPD Blue.
And
It was a huge deal.
revolutionary.
Yeah.
For a man to show his ass on network television.
And of all things, Dennis Franz being the one to do it. I mean, it's not
Not
like
a inherently handsome guy.
not what I would call an Adonis.
No, it wasn't the redheaded fella. Like it was. They're like, oh, we'll pick the fat lieutenant.
But God bless him for doing it. I mean, that did break some boundaries. I have noticed that cussing has become a lot more acceptable.
We're getting through it
in TV shows.
You can they can do the F word after like 10 p.m. or something like that.
Yeah,
on
and they have to have the
cable.
TVMA
Yeah.
warning beforehand.
But it doesn't
In
matter.
a
We're,
movie, you can
we're in the
say-
Netflix and Prime era, so
You
Yeah.
can say fuck once in a film, and it won't, and still get a
PG-13.
PG-13.
Still stays PG-13.
But all the MPAA and all that shit's starting to become really outdated.
God, I
The control
hope
they
so.
have is just doesn't mean shit anymore.
Yeah, I really, really fucking hope so because the stranglehold that they've had on the film industry is just it's fucking ridiculous.
It's within our lifetime. It's gonna burst. Like there's no way that they can hold on. Not the way streaming is going and all that. All the best directors are gonna go to streaming services. No one's gonna even want to put anything in a theater anymore when the MPAA has that kind of fucking control over.
Yeah, I mean it's so much more freedom. That's one of the things that I love about our show being on the Tetherball Academy network is they don't stop us from saying anything that we want to say. So it
The
doesn't
MPAA,
stifle
it's
our
an
our
HOA
creativity.
for fucking films. It's just one more piece of government you have to go through that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous, and hopefully it's on its way out.
I'm sorry.
But no, I see that's what the show is all about. Is the story of history is the through line. The conversations is what everybody comes for.
Bro, I forgot we have microphones in front of us. I'm just hanging out with my friends at this point.
No, see, that's-
I wish I had some blow here. I could really just start having
God,
fun.
this would be a 4-hour long episode if we had that here. I already talk too much, but I am on prescription methamphetamines. But that's one of the comments that we get from listeners so often is the banter that goes on while we're talking about the topic is really what keeps people coming back, because you can go to pretty much any source to find this type of information. You can either look it up yourself, you can go to one of the other boring, dry history podcasts that are out there and hear somebody drone on about it and say nothing interesting. It's
We try to
these
stay
little-
right down the middle.
Yeah, these
half
We're gonna be
learn, half
talking
fuck around.
about post-revolution French industrialization.
There
Yeah,
it is.
exactly.
Exactly.
and it's fucking boring. We have school teachers that listen to the show now.
Yeah, it's
which
awesome.
shocks me because I've gotten messages from them on Instagram.
There's so many public school history teachers in this country who are not just going through the motions of just being a teacher, but they really do love history and they want to teach kids that, and they are just fucking. There is a constant fucking
they're cut
hand
off.
around their neck as far as what they teaching real history, really telling the truth to these kids. And I can imagine as a public school teacher, K through 12, especially high school level, you would want to listen to something like this, because I doubt that we're even telling them anything they don't know, but they're living vicariously through us because we
Like,
get
that's how they want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Those kids deserve to hear it.
Yes, I mean, present history in its entirety.
It's not
and how
supposed to be
ugly
romantic and
messy it
loving.
is.
Yeah, it's supposed to. History is dirty.
Dude,
It's as dirty as the time we live in.
very much so. The
Dirtier.
entirety of human history.
If you feel good about anything you read about any, let's talk about American history. If the whole point of you studying American history is to feel good, you're not studying fucking history.
No, you're getting a highly curated version of American history. If you feel good about like damn near anything that you read about in history, you're
There's
getting a
no-
curated version.
You
of
can
it.
talk about cool things that have happened. You can talk about positive things that happened. I believe in certain revolutions that have happened, but even with those revolutions came carnage, death, suffering, people that had to get
Atrocities.
sacrificed for. Yeah.
And all throughout all of it, tons and tons of sex.
Lots of
because
sex.
if it wasn't
lots
for that,
of
nobody would
lots
be
of
here.
rape too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
That's what people like. I can imagine if you're some K through 12 teacher and you're hearing this thing, it's like, this is everything I want to say to these fucking kids.
yeah,
And it's not even their parents that are going to have
Hopefully.
the problem. It's
yeah. History is a very messy, ugly topic.
Yeah.
And I mean that's just the fact of the matter. Humans have always been a very complicated and highly fallible creatures.
Yeah, we're fucking apes that just created nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're doing the same bullshit. We have the same behavior. We just created agriculture.
Instead of throwing sticks at each other, we're throwing nukes.
Yeah.
We just had a surprise appearance from Papa G. Yeah. Just came in. We must be getting close to the
We're at
time
an
for
hour
the jack
10 right
session
I am
starting.
so fucking sorry.
No, like I said, that's the purpose of the show. We can do. We've got a thing that we've started calling the lightning round, when we start burning through information quick. But
It's 5:42.
5:42. Okay, we can get through the rest of this fairly quickly. So when we last left off, we were talking about Che's attempted invasion of Argentina, where he sent his friend Jorge Massetti,
I'm in the
former
porn
journalist.
thing. I'm in.
Oh, I'm in also. I'll help you research and write it.
Yeah. To be a good writer is all about being a good researcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll light it. I'm not shooting it though. I don't want to get that close.
Oh, you'll get stuff all over your camera.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
If you want to work camera on that, have at it.
No, I'll light it.
no, we
make it
want
look beautiful, make it look historic, and then I'm out. I don't want to be there during the penetration.
Funny
I won't, as a writer, I won't be there. So
I'm not going to be there unless you're there on set. As
Unless
a
you're-
writer,
unless
if you
you're
care about the
acting in the
project, you
scene.
need to be there on set to make
well,
sure.
as a producer, I'll probably be there.
Okay.
Not as a writer.
Just one more quick little side tangent. The guy who taught me how to do production sound on films did a short stint in recording sound for porn. And he said that when he first told me about it, I was like, oh, that must have been pretty cool. He was like, no, it was fucking horrible, because on the first day that I worked on set, they needed Foley of a guy masturbating. So I had to spend a few minutes just sitting off to the side of the set with this porn star jerking off, just holding a boom mic up to it. And he said he lasted about a week, and then he tapped
Do you
out. He
know
was
how
like, "All right,
many
this is a little too
mainstream
fucked up."
industry
Fuck on
people,
that.
especially, do you know how many industry people? Oh God, I'm not telling you anything you guys don't know. Like, I know a lot of dudes who have big time film credits under their fucking names.
but
that
they made their money in
they,
porn.
they would take porn jobs, and doing work on porn, whether it's
I've
editing
never done it.
or lighting
Really?
or yeah.
I've never worked on one either.
Yeah, I know a guy. I'm not gonna. Ross knows him. He worked
That's
on
how you flip
Range
your mind up.
15. His IMDb list is extremely impressive. He would fucking leave a normal set with an A-list actor and go fucking light for a porn just to make extra money.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a certain type of mind to do that. So, during this invasion of Argentina by Jorge Massetti, the citizens didn't really care about this announcement that they made over the radio saying that there was revolutionaries invading the country and everybody needs to take up arms and overthrow the government. They were just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Local police heard it, and they said, oh, we're not going to let that happen. So they just found the guys and either killed all of them or captured them. Jorge Massetti himself actually escaped initially, but being a journalist, he was missing a few very important skills for being off the grid in an enemy country. So Massetti himself was able to escape the police and flee into the jungle, but due to him having the navigation skills of a former journalist, he got lost and disappeared in April of 1964, never to be seen again. And it's theorized that he ran into the jungle, got lost, and then just died of exposure and
Right.
dehydration.
Yeah.
You think that's true?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and those people forget how vast those South American jungles can be.
Very, very big.
Yeah.
Undeterred,
Holy shit, he died in the jungle because he's ridiculous.
yeah, Chase sent his buddy, who was a former journalist, to lead a revolution in Argentina and just got all of them either thrown in prison or killed. But I mean, par for the course for his post-Cuban Revolution career.
Didn't know how to pick his lieutenants.
Yeah, not that great. Undeterred, Chase set his sights on the African Congo. This time, he knew if he wanted the job done right, he would have to do it himself. So Guevara, along with 12 Cuban expeditionaries and 100 Afro-Cubans.
I was gonna say, how many fucking Spanish speakers are in the fucking Congo?
I know, right? Well, they thought that they were doing a good job by bringing some the Afro-Cubans, which are
Wasn't that British territory, or the Brits still had
was
influence
it,
there at that
was
time?
it then, or was it the Belgians?
Oh, well, you don't want to go up against those motherfuckers,
No.
especially at that time.
Yeah. So with 12 Cuban expeditionaries and 100 Afro-Cubans, they collaborated with a local guerrilla leader to spread their ideology by force. Che's arrogance and poor hygiene quickly alienated all of the local support. And it was during this time and when he goes into Bolivia later where he ended up earning the nickname, I think it was El Chancho, which means the pig, because he would go up to 6 months at a time without bathing. And he constantly smelled like shit. That's something that
He also
everybody knew
gained
about
weight
him.
as he got
is
older.
he constant? Well, during this time, he started losing a lot of weight because he was always starving in the jungle trying to lead these revolutions. Che had assumed that bringing along the darker-skinned Afro-Cubans would help them build support, but as we've learned in a previous episode, he didn't exactly respect the African people. He and his men treated the locals with disdain and walked around with an air of superiority. This unsurprisingly failed to gain them any
Some
fans.
African deep in the fucking jungle that this is my home is gonna give a fuck about a lighter skinned black person showing up speaking a completely different
No.
like they're gonna have something in common.
And not
that's
only
like the
that-
difference between a fucking Canadian and a fucking someone from Russia.
Yeah.
Like it's like
Don't
two
have a whole
different
lot in
worlds.
common.
Yeah. Oh,
And
you
you're
share
acting
the
like an
same
asshole?
skin color, so they're gonna be boys.
And the Cuban revolutionaries were constantly acting like assholes.
dicks,
They just had
yeah.
this air of superiority around them that literally drove away all of their support.
Yeah.
After 7 months in Africa, many of his men were wounded, and the local warlords had turned their backs on him. Unwilling to admit defeat, Che ordered his men to take the wounded and return home without him. Che himself was going to stay behind, continuing the fight alone, hoping to inspire a revolution through his courage. And Che totally would have carried on a one-man revolution until his death, were it not for his men pleading with him to flee. And the fact that he was starving, covered in infected mosquito bites, and suffering from severe diarrhea. Plus, his asthma was acting up, and you can't fight a revolution if you can't make long-winded speeches about how awesome you are. And besides that, Fidel had asked him to come home because he missed him. So, at that point, the decision was out of his hands. He totally would have fought to the death, though. He didn't leave because he wanted to.
Yeah.
He left because he had no choice. He
And I have asthma.
Yeah, I can't breathe, guys, and these mosquito bites hurt. Still hoping to spark a revolution of his own somewhere, Chase set his sights on Bolivia, and this was a bad choice on his part. In November of 1966, Guevara arrived in La Paz posing as a Uruguayan businessman, hoping to relive the success of the
Like he was
Cuban...
going to blend in after being Che Guevara, the revolutionary.
I know, right? He's known all over the world. He's gone to like fucking UN summits and shit at this point. Not really going to blend in that well. And plus, the United States was keeping very close tabs on his location. He was,
and
the
he's also-
CIA was on.
yeah,
He's also walking around acting like an asshole.
yeah. No, he does not know how to
Spoiled rich kids do.
does not know how to keep a low profile. Guevara set up shop in the jungle and started to build his rebel army, and once again, things didn't go as he planned. After doing his best to convince everyone he was the communist messiah, only 50 men joined his cause. You may think this was enough, seeing as they only had 20 people when they started the Cuban Revolution, but in Cuba they were assisted by hundreds, if not thousands, of other revolutionaries from multiple different factions, and they had Fidel Castro. leading
Fidel
them.
Castro, a leader.
Yeah, an actual leader who was doing a much better job at diplomacy than Che ever did.
Yeah.
Although their numbers were small, they were well-trained, well-equipped, and highly motivated. In the beginning, the ragtag band of revolutionaries were able to win a few small skirmishes against the less experienced Bolivian army, but unbeknownst to them, it was these small victories that put them on the radar of the big boys, and they soon found themselves in deep shit.
Yeah.
Uncle Sam caught wind of Guevara's plans and decided to send Bolivia some assistance in the form of the most highly trained skullcrackers on the United States payroll. A team of the CIA's Special Activities Division, which from...
They became Green Berets eventually.
Yeah, well,
right?
I think the CIA's Special Activities Division is still around, and as far as I can tell from all of my research, that's like the highest tier of super secret spy special operation shit that you can ever get into.
Yeah, because we didn't
Like
want
what
that
Arnold was in
We
Eraser.
didn't want his bullshit flooding into fucking Texas and Florida and shit like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But yeah, the CIA's SAD, like they recruit from all of the special forces in America to get the best of the best of the best of the best to do those jobs.
Best of the best.
Highly, highly specialized. So along with the SAD, the United States sent the U.S. Army Special Forces and an entire battalion of badass Army Rangers, which the Army Rangers are no fucking joke. To put it lightly, Che and his comrades were fucked. With the training and assistance provided by the United States and with the training and assistance provided by the United States, the Bolivian army was able to track Che down at his camp in the Uro Ravine. On the morning of October 8, 1967, 180 soldiers surrounded the camp and descended upon the commie rebels in a hail of gunfire. The small revolutionary force was quickly overwhelmed by the superior numbers of the Bolivian army. Che himself was shot twice in the ensuing battle, and his weapon was damaged beyond use. Surrounded and out of people willing to die for him, Che surrendered by throwing his hands in the air and shouting, "Do not shoot! I am Che Guevara. I am worth more to you alive than dead."
Which is a desperate man
Yeah.
right at that point.
Yeah, because before that he had
Because a real revolutionary would die in a hail of gunfire.
before that he always had a nice little buffer around him of other people that were less important to him willing to
Real revolutionaries are willing to die.
willing to soak up the bullets.
Yeah.
Fuck.
While Che thought he was more valuable alive, the Bolivians disagreed. Although Che was an incompetent leader, he was charming and charismatic, which made him dangerous. If left alive, a public trial would risk giving the narcissistic lunatic a platform from which he could inspire more idiots to join his cause. So the next morning, the Bolivian president sent orders to have Guevara executed immediately.
Nice.
This part I really like. A 27-year-old sergeant named Mario Terran requested to be the one to pull the trigger.
So, okay.
Sergeant Terran had a grudge against Guevara for the loss of 3 close friends who were also named Mario. He lost 3 friends named Mario, who I'm assuming they all became friends working together because it's like, Mario?
Yeah.
I'm Mario.
Yeah,
Mario.
Mario must be like the John of Bolivia.
It must be because these aren't even the only Marios in the story. I left the other Marios out.
Yeah.
The lesson here being, if you kill one Mario, you better be prepared to kill them all, lest you face the wrath of the Marios.
Well, the Marios I know, I get at least I think you start out with 5 lives with your Marios. So,
Yeah.
I've definitely dealt with multiple Marios. At
Oh,
times.
God, and it seems like no matter how many times they die, they just keep coming.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you kill them all, you got Luigi to deal with.
Yeah. Around 1 p.m., Sergeant Turan chugged a bottle of booze and entered the hut in which Che was being held. This wasn't going to be a quick bullet-to-the-brain execution like the many executions Che himself had performed. The Bolivians didn't want to deal with accusations of extrajudicial killings, and also didn't want to deal with that, and they didn't want to make Che a martyr. They wanted the death to look like he had been killed during the battle on the previous day. Upon seeing the sergeant enter, Che stood up and defiantly spoke what he hoped to be his last and inspiring final words. "I know you've come to kill me. Shoot, coward. You are only going to kill a man." In reality, Che's final words were a series of squeals and groans as he rolled around on the floor. Using his selective fire M2 carbine, Turan shot Che with a 5-round burst in both legs.
Oh,
shit.
meticulous.
Yeah, very clean. The revolutionary Messiah rolled around on the ground, biting down on his wrist in an attempt to stifle his cries. The sergeant then followed up with another burst of fire to the torso. 2 rounds hit Che's right shoulder and arm, and 2 more bullets hit him in the chest and throat, mortally wounding him. At 1:10 p.m. on October 9th, 1967, Ernesto Che Guevara was pronounced dead. He had lived by the sword, he died by the sword, and he smelled like a college student after a 9-day bender at Burning Man the whole time.
Bro,
And
I've
that
got
brings
to.
us to
You
the
should
end
just
of
went
Che
to class,
Guevara.
Jay. You should just went to
Should have
class,
just stayed
brother.
a doctor.
Should have became a
Should have
doctor.
just fucking
Should've
gone
went
into
to
the medical
class.
field.
Yeah.
Stop going on all these motorcycle trips around the goddamn country, study, make your family proud, and you won't end up dead in a Bolivian jungle somewhere. Which I'm assuming they probably just rolled him into a ditch and covered him up with some dirt and left him there. Fitting for who he was, though, because God knows how many people he did that to.
Yeah,
I
true.
mean, we
True
discussed multiple accounts where he did that to other people.
And now college students across America,
Have him on his fucking t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which actually reminds me, Joel and I are
Maybe they'll
wearing
learn about this.
Joel and I are wearing red t-shirts today in
Oh, that's why.
in reference to the whole commie
Better
revolution.
dead than red.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
better
not
dead
because
than
it's
red.
we're filming this on a Friday and it's remember everyone deployed, right? Red.
Oh shit.
Oh, fuck.
Okay,
too,
no,
right?
Yeah,
no, that's
yeah,
that's what
yeah,
it is
yeah.
too. I've been keeping track of that. Fuck. Well, that's it for this episode of the Iconoblast podcast. We're gonna get out of here before I look like an asshole. Follow us on Instagram. You can follow the whole podcast itself at Iconoblast Podcast.
Yeah.
At Joel R. Benner, at Coop Nukem. I
At Jack
highly
Mandeville.
recommend following at Jack Mandeville. He has some of the funniest fucking reels I've ever seen.
Makes my day better every day.
Me too. There's shit that you post on there every week that fucking makes me laugh so goddamn hard. I fucking love it.
Yeah, literally, you'll post something in your story, and I'll send it to Coop, and I'll be like, "Dude, Jack's fucking making me laugh," and then Coop will just be like, "Already saw it."
Yeah. No, dude, it's good shit. I especially love the videos with you and Taco.
Oh
my favorite.
Well, he's laying in that bathroom right there in the studio.
That
Tacos
video,
are good.
the one of him choking on his food.
Yes.
Yeah,
Which one? Oh,
You said
it
something like,
happens.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
chew your
God.
food,
Chew
you
your food,
asshole.
you fucking
Yeah,
asshole.
God.
So
Fuck.
good.
Taco's
it's
here
a-
in the studio today.
Yeah.
He's a bulldog, and any bulldog owner understands you gotta constantly keep an eye on them because they'll kill themselves. They'll kill themselves being outside. They'll kill themselves eating. Like they're in constant danger of their own fucking bullshit.
No, such a
He's
cute
a good
little
boy.
doggo. Yeah, he's a good boy. All right, well, that's it. We will see everybody next week. Not sure what the topic's going to be yet, but that's usually how it is once we end one topic because I have no idea where the show's going next, but that's part of
Yep.
the excitement. And we'll see everybody in the Monday night premiere.
Yeah.
This has been the Iconoblast Podcast. I have been Matt Cooper.
Joel Benner.
That's
What's up?
Jack Mandeville, and we're reminding you to never take anything at face value.